What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so man, I just saw this updated top 100 list from Bleacher's report, from the Bleacher report, and it is absolute disgrace. The agenda, the anti-Kobe agenda, continues, and this is crazy because I'm not a guy that was ever the biggest Kobe Bryant fan when he was playing. You know what I'm saying? I was a Michael Jordan fan. And to be honest with you, for many years, I was a Kobe Bryant critic until I started seeing the media when Kobe suffered his Achilles rupture. I think it was in 2013. I noticed that the media, when Kobe was no longer the same player, I saw them, especially after he made those honest comments about ESPN, right? And how those guys were idiots. They just totally just gave up on Kobe, uh, started lying about his legacy out of spite. And, they've had a grudge against this guy ever since then. Even in death, they still, and largely because us calling these guys out and trying to keep the mantle of greatness for Kobe Bryant alive, because if these guys had their way, they would try to relegate him to the likes of Jerry Stackhouse with rings. That's pretty much what they want to put him as, if you really think about it. And that's not a knock on Jerry Stackhouse, but that's where they want to put him at, right? So the new list has come out as far as the top 100. And Kobe Bryant has been kicked out of the top 10. For years, he was in the top 10. Now the new top 10 is Michael Jordan at number 1, LeBron at number 2, Kareem at number 3. At number 4, they have Magic, I believe. At number 5, I believe it's Bill Russell. At number 6, I think it's, going off memory here, I think it's Tim Duncan, I think it is, at number 6. At number 7, I think it's Bird. And 8 and 9, I think, are Shaq and Curry. No, I'm missing somebody. Curry was number 10. Shaq was number 9. And Duncan, I'm missing somebody, right? I just can't think of it, who I'm missing. But Kobe's number 11. And when you look at the entire top 100, you see a certain pattern. And in that pattern, you notice that certain guys, teammates of these players, are either put up higher or lower. Like, for instance, a lot of LeBron's teammates are pushed down to make it appear like he's had less help than he really did. I remember at times when Dwayne Wade was like at 21, 20, right? He's pushed lower. Chris Bosh barely makes the list. I think he's in the 90s. Kyrie Irving is in the 60s or 70s, right? But Pau Gasol is like in the 60s or lower 70s, right? Pau Gasol, as if he's a top 5 to 10 all-time power forward or something. So Scottie Pippen, I've never seen Scottie this high before. Scottie is like 27 or 28 on their list. When I was 20 years younger, Scottie was like 40. Scottie used to barely make the top 50. Now all of a sudden, Scottie on his own with 6 championships is ranked 27 or 28 on their list, right? But Sam Jones, who has 10 championships, 10, is ranked behind a Pete Maravich, who has only played 26 playoff games in his career, right? They have Steve Nash, ranked ahead of Allen Iverson. The agendas at play here. But you know, a lot of the people who are affiliated with Bleacher Report are affiliated with the same people who have been on this anti-Kobe movement or been part of this pushing this anti-Kobe movement sometime. They're affiliated with ESPN. They're affiliated with Clutch Sports. So we know what they've been doing. We know what they've been doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's just pathetic at this point. And this is why we have to push back on this bullshit. They're trying to replace some of the all-time greats with guys who don't deserve it. Look, I'm not trying to hate on Jokic, man, but Jokic to me should not be ranked 17th. How does Jokic get the rank ahead of Moses Malone? They both have 3 MVPs. They both have a championship. They both have a Finals MVP. Yes, Moses never has had a triple-double for a season, but Moses has 5 rebounding titles, if I'm not mistaken, 5 or 6 rebounding titles. You know what I'm saying? The guy in his career corralled 16,000, 17,000 rebounds. Moses scored 29,000 points in his career when you include the ABA, right? Even when you don't include the ABA, he scored 27,000 points. He was the best player in the NBA from the late 70s until the early 80s. Even when Magic and Bird first entered the league, Moses was still considered the best player in the NBA. But nobody even knows who Moses is now. You know what I'm saying? Dr. J's at 20, which, I mean, it's just unbelievable. George Mikan, if I'm not mistaken, I think Mikan's like number 45. Now, look, I understand George Mikan played a million years ago. I get that. But George Mikan was the superstar and the defensive anchor of the league's first dynasty. They won 3 championships in a row, the first 3-peat, 5 championships altogether for the Minneapolis Lakers, right? How is that somehow negated? But, you know, some guy who has put up some numbers, like a George Gervin, is ranked ahead of him, who, don't get me wrong, George Gervin was an unstoppable scoring machine, but Gervin never won a championship. Gervin never appeared in the NBA Finals. I think Gervin may have, at best, appeared in 1 conference finals, maybe. I'm not even certain of that. I got to really look at it again. I just don't understand what their criteria is, because some players get rewarded for winning titles, but then some players, because they won the titles, it's like it goes against them. Like, I'm trying to figure out why Sam Jones, 10 championships, don't mean anything. Do these guys understand that oftentimes with those matchups between Russell and Chamberlain, for the most part, the decision, like the difference between the two was the backcourt? Do they understand that? Do they understand that what the difference often was is, even though Wilt would drop 30 and 30 on Bill Russell's head, the difference is that the Celtics backcourt of Bob Cousy and Sam Jones would overwhelm the backcourt of the Philadelphia Warriors. Sam Jones will come out there and drop 30 on whoever guarded him on the perimeter, and that'd be the difference in the game. But because the players of the past, outside of Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell, get lost in time, people tend to think that was the difference maker. Bill Russell wasn't the difference maker when it came to Wilt. The backcourt for the Boston Celtics was the difference when it came to Wilt. So no, Sam Jones needs a lot more fucking respect. Bill Russell shut his own damn mouth. 7 times in their championship run and in deciding games, Bill Russell had the ball in his hands and he had a make or break opportunity. If he missed a shot, they would lose the game. If he made the shot, they would win the game. And all 7 times, Sam Jones made the shot. He's one of the great clutch performers in the history of the NBA. And yet they got him ranked in the 70s or some shit. It's a disgrace. Steve Nash hasn't won shit. How is he ahead of Allen Iverson? He wasn't more influential. He didn't do anything that Allen Iverson did with the Sixers. Steve Nash actually had help on those teams. Steve Nash underperformed lots of times in the playoffs. Steve Nash was a horrible defensive player. Yes, he won 2 league MVPs. Iverson won 1, right? But Allen Iverson, I think, did a lot more with less. This list is stupid. It's comical. From a historical perspective, when I'm looking at it, I'm scratching my head. I'm not understanding what criteria they're looking at other than I think they're trying to be controversial. And with Kobe, they're trying to be spiteful. And not to mention, Wilt is only 9th on this list. That's who I forgot to mention, Wilt. Wilt is 9th. Wilt is 9th. That's who it is. And Steph Curry's 10th. So now Steph Curry is greater than Kobe Bryant. You know, I mean, it is what it is, y'all, man. It's sad. Tell me what you guys think.